Traders, welcome in this video I want to review my top stocks for tomorrow, January 12th, or just next week in general. We are approaching a zone with a lot more opportunities. Growth stocks are starting to look really good. They were looking good going into the new year. The last few days of the year, I was seeing a lot of promising action. And now we've seen some of the consolidation, some of the development that I like to see. And we've seen a few leaders take off and actually perform well. In my last video, I think I was touching up on that. ONS broke out, really nice move. Lightpath, LPTH, that was a good move as well. Those were the two stocks that I was really watching to see how these growth stocks, how these risk-on trades would perform, and they broke out and held. Velo was a name on the last video that's done pretty well, breaking out of this structure here in the 14s. Now it's at 20, so that was another good move. So we're seeing movement out of stocks like these, which is really positive for us as swing traders, momentum traders in particular, because the last few months have not really facilitated any breakouts. Even stocks with good setups just would not send it. So now we're seeing a little bit of rotation back into these names, which is obviously what we want to see. We're very measured in our approach, right? So oftentimes we're not trading at all, because there just are no opportunities. It's not about taking tons of trades. It's not about trading year round. It's about picking your spots and when we have opportunities, execute properly. So anyway, I'm just going to cover this list right here to the right of me, this watch list, and that'll be the video. This is not every stock I'm watching, but these are some of the key ones that I like. So RDW, I actually took this on Friday. One of the larger positions I've taken in a while. I really like this setup here, and let me delete some of this scribble scrabble. But if you pull back on the chart, this is obviously a stock that can produce large ranges. So that's step one. I identify that this is a stock that can, make large swings. The ADR is nearly 12, so that's respectable. We know that if there's volume, if there's momentum and liquidity, we can get some big action here. So it bottomed out at $5, and it's already doubled from those lows in December. So clearly we saw a shift here, because the volume has significantly jumped. The stock has doubled. It's supported by the moving averages, and this is a very nice consolidation, right? So higher lows, and then you have a key level here near these highs of 1080. It was just popping out of that on Friday, and I wanted to just establish a position. I would even scale into this throughout the week if we can get some smaller setups. But the big thing for RDW is the amount of volume. Let's go to the weekly for a sec, just so you can see the volume levels, right? So these moves were very large for the stock. And look at the volume we're seeing now. The volume is significantly higher, which means that these levels will not act as a strong resistance. They do not carry much weight. There's not a lot of supply here because the volume right now is significantly higher than these levels. So when we have high volume like this, higher volume than the stock has ever seen in its history, we have a lot of potential. That's what I would say, because you have the power, you have the amount of float rotation to actually make large strides. Also, this was likely a SPAC merger company due to this action here. These are IPO levels. Most SPACs, were around this 10-12 level. Once it breaks through that ceiling again on strong volume, we can really see some big action. And that's exactly what we saw in the stock previously. But now we have even more volume. And it is in the aerospace and defense field, which space stocks have done good. Drone stocks are doing good. Robotics are doing good. So I think it's kind of just a culmination of these themes wrapped up into this stock, and it just makes this a good opportunity. UMAC, this is another robotics stock. It's just below this key level here. This key level is about 1570. You can see it on the weekly a little bit better. But anyway, over that level, some strong volume. I think this is a stock that can retest these highs quite easily, actually, as long as the volume steps up. It's been consolidating. I think it needs a little bit more time, but a breakout of this structure here is what I would be looking out for. Possibly if it pulls back into the 21 EMA, I could look for an entry on a pivot. That is a potential option for a stock like this. FLNC is definitely a top watch, if not the top watch. This is a textbook move here. Good volume throughout, and it breaks out from $7 to 26. Consistent action. On this move right here, this leg, it pretty much remained above the 21 the entire time. And then we have a key level here at 23, which it retested a few times, couldn't break out, but it's making higher lows. So this is really nice. Obviously, you can see it's tightening up. The range is tightening up. Volume is declining throughout. So we're seeing a lot of accumulation. This is the type of stock that can make a big move. And then going back to the volume situation, right? The volume right now is significantly higher than in its history. This would usually act as a pretty strong level of resistance or supply because there was just tons of action in it. But the volumes are significantly lower than currently. And as you can see, the stock is just trading in a much cleaner, it's just trading much cleaner. Why? Because there's more liquidity. This was very choppy because there was less liquidity. So usually when you have more liquidity, you have more volume, you have much cleaner action. And clean action is really important for us as swing traders because our goal is to ride the stock higher. And if it's chopping within the moving averages, it's hard to remain in the position. SKYT, Skywater Technologies, is next. So this already broke out over the 20 level. Now it's at 30. It's been on a tear here. Has a lot of clean air, and the ADR is pretty solid. I like this structure in particular. It's a smaller structure, but it's supported by the moving averages. I'd like to actually see it consolidate a few more days, possibly build a little bit more of a range, let these moving averages catch up, let it tighten up for more of a spring-loaded entry. But we can definitely pinpoint a really good level to get in here with a tight stop loss and big upside. It is doing pretty well. ASTI is going to be the most speculative stock on the list. It is a small cap stock, semiconductors, and the volume is not very high. Relative to its past, the volume is high, but 2 million volume on a 10% move for a $4 stock is very low. With that being said, the ADR is 35. So whenever a stock has a setup like this, where it's making higher lows, lower highs, and basically a flag on a 35 ADR, so tight action, relatively tight action, on a 35 ADR stock will almost always pique my interest, right? If it could break out of this zone right here, or I would say Friday's high, over Friday's high with strong volume, I think this could easily push $7. And as you can see here, it had attempted to make these large pushes earlier. It wicked. I do not like that action. Typically stocks that wick lack liquidity, which we're obviously seeing here. But with that being said, this stock has so much potential. I would definitely like to take a few chances on this one. Maybe smaller trades, but with an ADR of 35, it's something you have to look at, especially since it's maintaining the moving averages. It is trending higher. This is just a good setup overall. Poet, excuse the drawings, guys. I was yapping about this earlier to members in the Discord. By the way, guys, the Discord is in the link in bio, or the link in the description. If you guys are interested, I alert every trade I take, education, community, etc. if you want to learn exactly how we swing trade momentum stocks. But anyway, Poet, this is a nice one. Another similar setup. Higher lows, and you have a key level of about 750 that the stock has tried to poke through before, but it's rejected. And over this level, the stock has a lot of clean run room, like a lot of the other stocks on this list. This stock has much higher volume currently than it's had in the past. This is a very positive sign, and it's something that I'm paying attention to, because if this stock did not have relatively high volume, I would not be nearly as interested. It may not even be on this list. IREN is the leader, in my opinion, for the mining/data center stocks. It had a phenomenal move in 2025. It's pulled back significantly. We had a very large retracement here, but it seems to have anchored in a low. It's back above the moving averages, and it's tightening below this key level right here of 48. I think poking through that level with some nice volume, we can get a nice retracement with initial target at about 64, 63, 64 area. This area will offer a lot of supply, so I think from there you trim a little bit and see how it is supported by the moving averages. But overall, this is a trade that has a lot of potential. RGTI is another trade that is very similar. It's in the same, RGTI is Quantum. I got a little confused there for a sec. I was getting confused with QBTS. QBTS is a quantum stock that I'm watching. This is really good. It pulled back off the highs. It's making higher lows, and then it's starting to consolidate here tightly. I would actually look to trade this off of a bounce from the 21. Look for an intraday pivot, maybe on the hourly time frame. That will take it back up into this resistance. It'll break out. So once the breakout occurs, instead of buying on the breakout in this case, we're probably already up 1R, and we can raise our stop loss, making this a risk-free trade, or we can add to our position and keep it at an original size risk, but we have twice the position size. So we could strategically trade this one. I think it's a candidate for that. I'll go back to RGTI. This is another quantum name, so the quantum stocks are starting to set up. I think over 27, this could make a large move. I like it a lot. Yeah, a lot of potential here. BBAI is the last one on this list. This is a longer dated trade. Let me delete these drawings. As you can see here, you go to the weekly or even the monthly, this stock has been tightening up and it's been getting accumulated for a long time. I think this is a lot. There are a lot of institutions playing this one. The volume screams institution, and it is only a $6 stock, but this movement is definitely something that catches my eye. And over this SPAC IPO level high, the stock can really make some huge strides. I think this will be one of the big winners potentially of 2026, and it may or may not be ready to break out next week, but it is something that I'm watching very closely. It seems to be very, very close. I would try to take the breakout on a horizontal level. I think this is the range I'm looking at right here, so over 650 with some nice volume. I don't like to take breakouts of a trend line because it's really hard to pinpoint a particular entry. I mean, it just really depends on how you view the trend line itself. But with a horizontal level, when you see a stock has been trying to actually tap and break out of a particular level and it rejects that, we can now mark that as a key level. So anyway, guys, that is the partial list for next week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, please like, and my X is in the description, and the Discord as well is in the description. There's a free and a premium. Go check it out, guys. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.